All right, we're jumping right into a really developing and tragic story out of Hollywood. You've got a 15-year-old girl who goes missing. Then, months later, a pop star's Tesla is just left abandoned. So today, we're going to explain the really mysterious story that connects these two events. So let's break this down. On one hand, you have a missing teenager from a city that's miles away from LA. On the other, you've got this abandoned car right in the middle of Hollywood. I mean, at first they seem completely unrelated, right? But as investigators started digging, they uncovered just a shocking and tragic link. Okay, so where does this whole thing even begin? Well, believe it or not, it starts with a car. Just a Tesla left in a Hollywood street. Now, that's not exactly a rare sight in LA, but this particular car, this one was about to kick off a massive police investigation. Now, this timeline is absolutely key to understanding what's going on. I mean, look at this. Way back in March 2024, a 15-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas, is reported missing. And for months, nothing. Crickets, no leads. Then, fast forward to early September. A totally separate event, it seems. A Tesla gets towed. It's only 2 days later, on September 8th, when workers at the impound lot notice a terrible smell, that these two completely separate stories suddenly and tragically crash into each other. So once that awful discovery is made in the trunk, the first big job for investigators is, of course, identification. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office gets to work, and when they figure out who the victim is, that name sets off major alarm bells. It immediately connected this horrible finding back to that missing person report from all those months ago. And wow, here's the confirmation. It's just chilling. The victim found in the car, Celeste Rivas, age 15. The missing person from March, Celeste Rivas, age 15. There was no doubt. At that exact moment, this case transformed from just a tragic discovery into a full-blown potential homicide investigation. You know, this quote from the official report, it's difficult to read, but it's so important for understanding the situation. Advanced state of decomposition. What that tells investigators and us is that this is not something that happened recently. It creates huge challenges for them, right? It makes figuring out a clear timeline, let alone the cause of death, incredibly complicated. All right, so this leads to the next massive question. Whose car was it? And the answer, well, it throws this investigation straight into the world of celebrity. And that adds a whole different level of complexity and, frankly, public attention to this case. So when they run the plates, the Tesla is registered to a David Anthony Burke. Now, that name might not ring a bell for you, but I'm willing to bet you've heard of his stage name. Yeah, he's known as the singer D4VD. And look at this number, 33 million. That's not total streams, that's his monthly listeners on Spotify. Just Spotify. So to be clear, we're not talking about some small indie artist here. This guy is a huge rising star. So let's just get a quick rundown on who we're talking about here. David Anthony Burke. He's 20 years old, he blew up on TikTok, which is how a lot of artists get their start these days. He just released his debut album back in April, and get this, he's actually on tour right now. And one more crucial piece of info, so far there has been absolutely no public comment from him or anyone on his team about any of this. Okay, so this brings us right up to the present day. Where does the investigation stand right now? Well, it's filled with a ton of uncertainty. I mean, they know who the victim is and they know who owns the car, but the biggest pieces of this puzzle, they're still completely missing. You're going to see this official term, deferred, being used for the cause of death. And it's really important to know what that means. It's not a final answer. It's basically a placeholder. It just means the medical examiner is saying, we can't be sure yet. We need to do more tests, like toxicology reports, before we can say for certain what happened to her. So these are the massive unanswered questions that are driving this entire police investigation. First, what was the official cause of death? How did she even get inside that car? Investigators are also working to officially confirm she is the same girl from that March report. And, of course, the million-dollar question. What's the connection, if there even is one, between Celeste and the famous owner of that car? So you've got this missing teenager, a celebrity's car, and a huge gap of months where we just don't know what happened. Right now, the truth is it's a complete mystery. And it leaves her grieving family, the public, and the police all desperately searching for an answer to the same heartbreaking question. What happened to Celeste Rivas?